folks, my name is Jen and today, spring vibes guys. So to be completely honest, I was actually contemplating not doing one of these videos because I thought that I didn't really have anything to talk about because it's just been a weird couple of months. And I last night realized I hadn't filmed anything for this week and started writing down notes of things that I've been into lately, and I have a pretty good list, so guess there was some shit to talk about anyway. Anyway, you know the drill by now. We're talking about what the spring vibe has been. As you can see, at work I wore a dress. And I got a little butterfly going on because it's springtime, bitches. Anyway, what have I been into? So if you've been here a while, you know that we follow the 5 senses on down through. So, hearing, what have I been listening to? First of all, it has been some of the usual suspects. The Beatles, Yellow Card. They are my constant companions. Then I think I talked about them in my Winter Vibes video. I started listening to a band called I the Mighty, and I have continued that. This past couple of months, listened to their entire discography a couple of times now. I really enjoy, I would say, the majority, well, actually, pretty much almost all of their music, which is rare for me because usually with bands, there's always like 1 or 2 songs that I don't really like, but this is one of the few bands up there with the Beatles and Yellow Card where I'm mostly across the board, like everything. Listening to pretty much all of their albums. 3 of them I have listened to multiple times. One is Satori, another is Connector, and then my favorite still out of the whole bunch is Where the Mind Wants to Go / Where You Let It Go. That's like their last album, and yeah, that's the one that I think I've listened to the most out of everything. That's the one that I keep coming back to. I think I mentioned also in my Winter Vibes video that the song that I had become like the obsession was Degenerates, and that's still up there. That is my favorite song of theirs, and that's the one that I keep coming to. I don't know, there's a part of that song that I connect to, and I also just really love the way it sounds. But honestly, coming up close as another like tip-top favorite recently has been 111 Winchester, which is also off of that album, and it is a song that seems like it is based off of the Winchester Mystery House, a little loosely based, but it's kind of got that like vibe to it, and there's the hook near the end that has been stuck in my head. I have links to down below to the stuff that I'm talking about, so you can see, because just good shit. Speaking of things that have gotten stuck in my head, The Way It Is, I forget who it's by, but you know, that's the way it is. Some things will never change. Like that song. Yeah, so that's been stuck in my head. And also, Changes, which is the cover and remix version, whatever, that like Tupac did, that has also been stuck in my head, both of them. So I've been listening to a lot more of them lately just because they've been stuck in my head. What else have I been into? Sleeping with Sirens. I have listened to more of their music. I think I've listened to their entire discography at this point. I think I mentioned previously that I have been kind of listening to them here and there, and I really enjoy their stuff as well. I've found over the past several months, when I've been exploring more music, that I think everything pretty much falls under the emo genre. Exploring more music that screams, whereas previously I could not handle it unless it was a female band. And then I discovered that, hey, if it's in Japanese, I don't mind it as much. And then I've been finding some other bands here and there that I don't mind so much. And it really depends on the level of screaming, how much there is, what it sounds like. That's key. Because if it's like that deep kind of like scary dragon demon roar thing, I don't like that. That makes me really anxious. But other stuff I don't mind as much. Yes, I've been making my way through their music as well, and I do like a lot of it. I did not write down what my favorite album of theirs is. I cannot remember it, but I'll flash up the picture of the album. I've also been listening to a little bit of Porter Robinson, partially just because I like it, but also because I have been, that was, a lot of his stuff was on a soundtrack for a writing project I had several years ago, and so I've been trying to like jumpstart my creative process and be like, hey, listen to this, maybe you'll want to write more, because I haven't really been writing lately for the most part. So yeah, I've been, you know. I've also been listening to Arcade Fire a little bit. My usual spring music has traditionally been like very set bands and musicians and stuff like that, and occasionally Arcade Fire will come up on there, but I've been trying to like listen to a little bit more of them fairly recently. And same goes for Ben Howard. He is one of my favorite like solo musicians. He is in English. I think he's technically under folk. He's an English folk artist. Does crazy things with the guitar. I saw him at Bonnaroo like several years ago, and he's just really talented. And so I've been listening to, I realized that I hadn't listened to his entire discography, so I've been doing that, but still my favorite album of his is, I believe it's his debut album, and it's also the first thing I heard from him, and it's Every Kingdom is the album, and I still just really love that album a lot. There's a couple of songs on there that I've been listening to pretty much every day. And that has been Keep Your Head Up and The Fear, because I just really, I've always kind of loved them, but yeah, there's especially this one section in The Fear where it goes quiet, and or almost quiet, and he's just like playing the guitar for a little bit, and then he repeats this like line, and it slowly gets louder, and it's just that perfect kind of part of a song for you to like really yell out in like your car when you're on like a road trip or something. I mean, that's what I really liked, you know, when I first found his music, and that's pretty much stayed the same. Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac. Springtime is also like prime Fleetwood Mac Stevie Nicks time for me. Like spring and summer, that's just, well, all times of the year is Stevie Nicks time, to be completely honest, but like that song, I don't know, it's just, it feels so quintessentially spring and summer to me. Like the type of song that you should be in like a dress or a long flowy skirt, and you should be preferably outside twirling around to that, or maybe that's just because when me and a group of friends will get together and have like wine nights and stuff like that, sometimes that's what happens. Maybe that's what I associate it with, but yeah. One that I've actually has been something that I've really liked for months and months, probably about a year now or something, I want to say, has been Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. And have I listened to anything else by Chris Stapleton at this point? No. But that song, love it. And I don't really know how to explain why I love it. I do associate it with a fun time, but just something about that, I don't know. I just really enjoy it. It makes me happy. And I'm saying this as someone who's not really into country. I mean, well, not really into country anymore. When I was younger, I listened to it a lot more. Partially because I liked it a lot more back then, but also partially because, I mean, when you grow up in a rural area, I feel like you're just inundated with country music, so yeah, I really love that song a lot. I probably should listen to more of his music, shouldn't I? Gogo Bordello, I've recently been revisiting their music. They are technically a gypsy punk band, and I've actually also seen them live. Like, wow, that was like 12 fucking years. Is it 12? 14 fucking years? Jesus Christ. So, one of their most famous songs was played on the Weekend Getaway thing that we did in March, and that reminded me, oh hell yeah, I have not listened to them in a while, and so I've just been kind of revisiting their music again. They're definitely not a band that you just sit around chill and listen to. I think that's the type of music you listen to when you're gonna get hyped up, or you're gonna party, or maybe on a road trip or something like that. They're that kind of, like, you know, it's the type of music that makes you want to, like, dance a little bit or hop around to or something. Anything else I've listened to? Well, of course, there was a new album that came out fairly recently that everybody's been talking about. If you guessed it was Taylor Swift, no. I have not listened to her album. Actually, the Cowboy Carter, so Beyonce's album. Again, I have said I don't really listen to country anymore. Everybody was losing their minds about how dare she make a country album, or oh my god, it's so awesome. Like, everything. And I'm not like a fan of hers. I'm not like a hater of hers either. I'm just kind of like fairly indifferent, I guess. I definitely listened to a lot more Beyonce when she was still in Destiny's Child, when I was a kid. But I mean, other than whatever is currently on the radio of hers, popular over the past, like, 15-20 years or something, that's what I know of her, and I've liked all of it, but I just, it's someone of ours that I go beyond, I really like that, into, man, I'm obsessed with that, I need to listen to everything she's ever made. It's not really into that area. So I haven't listened to any of her albums until this particular one. So I listened to it. I'm not, like I've said, I'm not like super into country, and I haven't listened to any of her albums, but I feel like it's not really a country album, but it's not really within what she usually makes, of what little I know. Anyway, it's like she made her own genre, which is pretty cool. I liked, I'd say, most of the album. Some of it is not really my cup of tea. It gets a little bit too twangy and stuff, and that's just not me. It's not really the music that I'm into. But I did like the updated version of Jolene that she did. There's another song that I believe is, I think it's called Protector, and it's like a song that she's written about, like, I think it might be specifically one of her kids, but I think it might be directed at all of her kids, and I just really liked that I thought was a very sweet song. I think that might be my second favorite off of it. My first favorite is definitely the cover that she did with a couple of other artists of Blackbird by the Beatles. I think it's a pretty good cover. It's simple, it's sweet, their way their voices harmonize is great. Yeah. As far as podcasts and stuff go, it's the usual suspects. My usual like ghosty podcast, my usual true crime podcast. Not so much bookish stuff. I think the only bookish one I've listened to over the past couple of months has been She Done It. And then I started a re-listen of Ghosts in the Burbs, but I only got so far. But I do need to continue my re-listen because she's posted like, I think like 2 or 3 new episodes by now, so I need to get caught up for that. I did start listening to 2 new to me podcasts, and one, they're both historical. One I think leans more towards like true crime-y aspects than the other. The other is like weird things in history or stuff you might not have known. The true crime-y one is The Art of Crime, and the host basically focuses on one particular subject and then goes into like things surrounding and connecting to that subject. So season 1 was Jack the Ripper, with a heavy focus on in the first episode or so, a heavy focus on the victims, which was good. But then of course it also went into extreme gory details about what happened, so that was a lot. But yeah, so that episode focuses on that and the case in general and everything surrounding it, and then the subsequent episodes are all about the people who were suspected or accused over the years of having been Jack the Ripper. A couple of them I'd known about because I just have heard about it on other podcasts or my own like cursory look into the case several years ago, but a lot of people I had not realized that they were on the list of possible suspects or anything. I know there's like this whole thing floating around right now about Degas somehow being Jack the Ripper. I think that's the craziest one out of the whole bunch of theories, but whatever. And then the next season, which I'm almost caught up on, was focusing on Madame Tussaud, Madame Tussaud. So the wax museum lady, so focusing on her and her life and her career and how she got started and her whole spanning career and what she did. She's a lot more interesting of a person than I originally had thought. And then it covers not only that, but famous cases surrounding the famous wax figures that she then made and displayed in her wax museum over the years, including, oh my gosh, what is it called? It's Murder Alley. Isn't that what it's called? Or it's called where all of her like serial killers and like terrible people were. All those wax people were. Yeah. So it's been very fascinating. And then the other podcast that I have been recently listening to is called The Conspirators, and each episode kind of talks about specific things and specific weird things over history. Like you had one episode recently about the Mothman and the Silver Bridge collapse, and then another episode which is about mummies and talks about strange mummy cases, and another episode that covers like the Donner Party, another episode that covers like another cannibalism case from the 1800s, or John Wilkes Booth, or and the strange things surrounding whether or not he was actually killed in that barn that everybody said he was killed in, which I had not heard before, so that was interesting. And then Some other random cases and disasters. It was the one I just finished listening to was about a couple of different shipwrecks that are not as famous as the Titanic, but should be, because they were also pretty catastrophic. So yeah, that has been very interesting, and it's been scratching that itch that I have had for learning more about interesting or weird historical topics, including a historical figure that I am now just absolutely obsessed with, and I need to learn everything about this person. It was the Count of Saint Germain, who's like this, most like 100% this guy was just your run-of-the-mill con man, but very fascinating and has like this mystique, and people are still wondering if he was a time traveler or a vampire or, you know, any other thing like that. Or yeah, he also rubbed shoulders with a lot of famous people. Casanova apparently hated the guy. Just very interesting dude. So I'm now I don't know, there might be another book haul in the future because I might have to read everything I can find about him because it's fascinating. Moving on from listening, what have I been watching? I think I talked a little bit about it in my like March wrap up, that I watched probably more things than I actually finished reading. I told you guys that I binged pretty much all of Great British Bake Off. That was great. That's a great comfort show. I also did a rewatch, I think it's like my 6th or 7th rewatch maybe, of Bunny Drop, which is one of my favorite anime. Kind of, sort of found family. Love that. It's pretty short. It's only like 11 episodes. Yeah, I did a rewatch of that. I'm almost done with The Way of the House Husband, which is an anime about a former Yakuza guy who has married, and he basically has become a house husband for his wife, who's a bit of a career woman, and his like focus is now on your typical like household things, but he still has like the drive and like the lingo of someone within the Yakuza, but now it's about handling laundry and getting sales on meat and stuff like that at the supermarket. It's funny. What else? I started watching Queer Eye, but then there's all this like, I don't know, there's all this drama online. One of the cast members is now not coming back, and there's like a new guy, and there's just been a whole thing, and I don't know, you guys, the whole thing's just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, and I just have not been able to finish watching the latest season, which is unfortunate. White Collar, I started watching White Collar. That was a show, I know that's been off for years now. I started watching it years ago. I think I watched like the whole first season and then just never continued. Up on like my Netflix or whatever recently, and I was like, oh shit, I never finished watching that show. So I've restarted it again, so I'm still in season 1, and I've really been enjoying that. Matt Bomer's just a cutie. And then also I've been trying and absolutely failing to catch up on YouTube. I know there's like several people, I'm so many videos behind. I've been so bad about like commenting or interacting with people. I'm trying, but it's just, there's a lot going on, and then there's like a lot that I'm trying to like catch up on, and yeah, so I'm still working on it. It's also why this video is a little late, so oops. Okay, moving on. The next sense. What are the scents of the season? Dragon's Blood incense. That's my incense of choice lately. That is, I mean, that's my favorite. But that is has been the one that I've mostly been reaching for lately. So I've moved out of the pine and the cinnamon territory into Dragon's Blood. I also switched up my perfumes recently. I was still using like my fall ones, so it was like pumpkin pecan waffle and stuff like that, and I finally put those away, and now I have Japanese cherry blossom, which has honestly been my go-to like perfume for years. So I've just switched back to that. And gingham, I got one of those, this Bath and Body Works stuff. I got a gingham one like a year or two ago, and that just feels very springy anyway, so I've been wearing that one. That's what I have on today, actually. And then fresh air. Nothing beats fresh air. Everything smells great. The earth smells fresh and clean and new. People are mowing their lawns, so you've got the grass, you've got the budding flowers, which unfortunately might be why I might sound a little off, because allergies. Taste. So what has been the food and the drink of the season? Cocoa. Still on a cocoa kick. Something I call my coffee special, I guess, which basically just means that instead of my usual, I still put like milk in it, but instead of my usual sweetener of a scoop of granulated sugar, instead I use honey or maple syrup as the sweetener, and then I put 1 drop of vanilla extract and a dash of cinnamon, and it's my special coffee, just to zhuzh it up, you know. I don't do it every day, but it's like my little treat. A couple of days a week. I like that. Speaking of treats, Moscow Mules. I'm back on my Moscow Mule kick because now it's springtime. It's warm weather. It feels like the prime time to have that drink. I think that's one of my favorite drinks, to be honest. Visited around Easter, and she brought like ingredients and stuff so we can make like this berry, I think it was like a sunrise sangria or something like that, and it was amazing. She had like this rosé, some type of rosé or something, and then yeah, we had berries and some other, I don't remember everything that was in it, but it tasted really good. Speaking of berries, I made instead of my usual treat to bring to the in-laws, then I decided on a trifle because I figured it would be nice to have something with like fresh fruit. So we found this recipe for a lemon berry trifle. You guys. Lemon cake with like a lemon curd cheesecake thing that you also make, and then fresh berries and then whipped cream, and it's like a whole, guys, yo, type in lemon berry trifle. Actually, don't do that. Like I said, I'll find things and I'll leave links to them down below. I put that recipe that I found down below too because it's so fucking good. Thanks, beer bread. Hell a lot of beer bread. When we went away for our weekend away with our friends, we do like this big feast thing, and beer bread was one of the things, and just the feast foods in general. There's one day where we all get dressed up and we prepare food, and everything there was just awesome. We have a friend that smokes meat, so we had smoked meat. We had amazing mashed potatoes. I have a friend that makes every year banana pudding, which is always freaking bomb, and yeah, everything was just so delicious, so good. So that was pretty great. My friends brought me chocolates, and those have been pretty great. I'm still making my way through them slowly. Let's see, we just had honey cakes we're finishing up, and oh, new discovery, Wensleydale cheese. Wensleydale cheese. I'd never heard of it before, and we got it because we like to do fancy charcuterie at this like get together, and so we try to grab all the interesting looking cheeses and stuff for it. And it's like this moist, crumbly cheese, and the one we got was the honey one, and guys, it legitimately tasted like cheesecake. My dad just visited to help us with more of the basement, and we got some so he could try it too, and dude, we polished that whole block off in one sitting. It really tastes like cheesecake. It's freaking amazing. I wish it wasn't quite as expensive as it is, but it's actually probably good that it is that pricey, because then we can't justify buying it every week, because otherwise we probably would. Next category is feeling, touching, so feeling, doing, what have I been up to? Sort of reading, kind of reading, still having trouble. I've read a little bit more this month than I had last month, but doesn't feel like it. I'm in the middle of so many books. I'm still having trouble getting through so many books. It's been a time. I do have like six books on my nightstand right now that I figured if I didn't get to in the rest of spring, that would be my May goals, so I'm really gonna try to hit those goals this month. Really try to get into them. Let's see, what else? Painting. I haven't painted in a while, and so I just made a little painting the other day, and I'm planning on a couple more. I have ideas percolating in my head. So actually, that was supposed to be the video that I put up this week, not this one. I was in the planning stages of making another painting, a bookish painting for the library downstairs eventually, and yeah, just did not get around to that, but hopefully I'll be able to find time to do that soon, because that is something I want to do soon, and I also want to like put up another video about making a fun thing. Spring cleaning. Did a lot of spring cleaning, have a lot more to do. I'm in the bedroom currently, and this is a room that definitely needs some spring cleaning. We've been gathering things for like planting. I've got like seeds gathered and stuff like that. I just have to go through last year's like stuff that we didn't end up dumping out at the end of the season. I need to go through all of those and dump the buckets and get new soil, and then do a whole bunch of like planting. And I also need to like transplant some of my succulents because they're like outgrowing their pots, so it's a whole deal. That's a whole project. I think basically the last thing that I've been really up to lately has been bird watching, which, I mean, I know the joke I've seen going around on the internet for millennials is, are we that old that now our new hobby is bird watching? It's like funny because yes, but also, I mean, I spend a lot of time with my grandparents, and so I've been just bird watching's been a thing that I enjoy since I was like little bitty. So one of the things that I asked for Christmas was like a bird feeder or something, and my parents, yeah, they gave us a birdhouse and a couple of bird feeders, and so we've had those up. Haven't put the birdhouse up yet, and it's probably too late in the season because I think birds are probably making their nest now, but we just don't have a good spot for it right now. But yeah, I put the bird feeders up, and I've had them up, and I just put a hummingbird feeder out. And we had wildlife before, but now we're like really having birds. Like the birds are really coming around into the yard, and we can hear them all the time, and it's just really great, because that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted a space where nature felt comfortable, like the birds would feel comfortable enough to come here and eat, even though we 100% definitely have a hawk that likes to hang around, so the birds probably hate that part, but I mean, it's a circle of life, so. But yeah, that's just been great. We have a couple of cardinals that have really been coming around lately. We've got chickadees and nuthatch and red-winged blackbirds and this really annoying blue jay, and also just these like standard I think they're just standard blackbirds. I don't know. See, I can identify certain ones, but other ones I'm not super familiar with. but those have been what we've seen the most. Maybe I think maybe a titmouse. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's just been really great to see them around. Oh, and the robins. The robins flitting around. This has been nice. But yeah, guys, that's basically been my spring vibes, what I've been into lately. Good. Let me know what your guys' spring vibes have been like. I hope you guys have been having a lovely spring, and that you are enjoying your May so far. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, wherever you're at. If you're new here and would like to subscribe, please consider doing so. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.